Well, hello everybody, I am Scojo in 360. I am actually the guy who is wearing the 360 camera on my helmet mount. So yes, this is a 360 video. I'm the guy down below. Now this is a 360 immersive video, so you can look around, up, down, all that. If you don't know how to do it, you can either put on a pair of Oculus goggles and look around, or with your smartphone you can lift it up side to side. You can also use your keyboard using the A, S, D, and W keys to look up, down, side to side. As you can see, I'm approaching the starting line here. This is the Bachelor Butte Dog Derby of 2020. I will give you a hint. I actually won the 5-mile sprint race. It's over 2 days, and the year before I came in 5th, so I'm just giving you a heads up. I did actually end up winning this race with some pretty amazing dogs. Now, the interesting thing about this is that right off the launch, we run into some pretty interesting problems, so stay tuned here. But again, this is going to be quite a little ride. I encourage you to just kind of kick back. If you're going to just only have maybe a minute or two, I'd encourage you to maybe watch this later. Just treat this as about a 20-minute meditation, because this is why I shot it. It's pretty much so you can just relax and see what it's like to be on the back of a dog sled. I'll have some music pop in once in a while. Sometimes I'll just get quiet and let you hear the dogs. And the rest of the time I will try to fill you in a little bit more about dog mushing and point out some things for you as we go. But again, just soak this up, look around, use your keyboard, use your Oculus goggles, use your cell phone, and just look around, and this will give you a chance to really see what it's like to be on the back of a dog sled. I first got on the back of a dog sled in Alaska back in 2009, and it changed my life. If you love dogs, then this is definitely the sport for you. So let's get geared up. We are about to take off, and as I said, right away we get into some problems that nearly knock over my sled. So here's our counter, as you can see just off to the left of me. She's getting us ready to go. My dogs are obviously quite ready to go. All right, we are off to a very fast start, and right away the dogs are for some reason drifting left. To this day I have no idea why, but get ready to look around, look down in just a couple of seconds. We are about to hit some posts here, and I almost flipped. So there we are, we're tied up. At this point I'm thinking I'm dead. The thing didn't flip, it caught an edge, but almost flipped. The dogs managed to get themselves righted because I have such smart dogs. So we got righted. We're still kind of in a weird spot. We have what they call a skijorer, which is a guy on cross-country skis and a dog on our right there. That may have been why my dogs drifted left, but at least they're up and going now, and we are coming up on our first major obstacle, which is a very, very steep hill. Let's just take a little bit of time and just listen to these dogs. Now, thankfully, as I said, I had very smart dogs, and here we are coming up on our first major obstacle. It's a very, very steep hill. I trained for a week running hills on this. You can hear me commanding to the dogs to go left. And now we are going up the hill. They follow my command perfectly, but now they are kind of thinking like, what's going on here? So get a chance, look down. I am now off my sled and having to run up the hill with them, which is no easy feat. So right off the bat, you are basically sweating, panting if you're the dogs, and it's a really rough way to get going, but you sure wake up awfully quickly. As you can see, every once in a while the dogs kind of turn and look at me and go, "Hey, why the hell did you get back on your sled?" So I jump off and I keep running with them, but I'll tell you, this first hill, it just takes the gas out of you right off the bat. But as I said, we are starting to near the top. The dogs are starting to feel it. They know what's going to happen. We'll get a little bit more into the dogs here in a second, but as soon as we crest this hill, I want to give you a chance to just sort of kick back, look around. Again, you can use your A, S, D, or W keys. You can use your smartphone to look around, or if you have Oculus goggles, this would be a truly immersive experience. All right, so here's what dogs are like in their prime.
Good dog.
As you can see off to the side now, it's not immediately obvious, but you can see that chunky snow. That is mainly ice. It was very cold in the morning, but it had warmed up during the previous day, so we had chunky ice on there that you can see these little specks that are flying every once in a while. They flew up, and actually one of them went in my mouth as we were going down this trail. So it's a rough go. It's a very fast start, and you can see the dogs are in full sprint now. Now off to the left, the lower left, is Chip. He's my little boy puppy, and he's just full of energy. And next to him, also black dog, is Moscow. That's the one on the lower right. Those are what you call wheel dogs. They pretty much do a lot of the bulk of the pulling and the power. You get them because they're fairly stable emotionally and they're strong. Now I want to talk a little bit about lead dogs. My two lead dogs are both girls. One is named Lava, that's the one on the left, and Sydney on the right. They're both known to be very smart. You want your lead dogs to know how to take commands and basically have good instincts.
Good dogs. You got it.
Here we come up on another hill, and the dogs
Good
are like,
dogs.
what's going on here? Get off your sled, help us out here. So of course I have to indulge them. Now I should mention, I got very lucky. I am using dogs that are owned by Rachel Sidoris. She's the
Good
only
dog.
person that was legally blind to run Iditarod 4 times, and she has a business called the Oregon Trail of Dreams, which is at Mount Bachelor in Central Oregon. You can get rides from them during the winter, and it's just a phenomenal ride. I highly encourage you to check them out. And I also want to thank her dad, Jerry Sidoris, for really being the guy behind getting me onto this sled. So right about now I might be cursing his name because I keep running up hills and I'm getting pretty tired, but I'll tell you what, dog mushing is really one of the most satisfying adventures that you'll ever have.
You got it.
Now, I should mention, this is at a place called Winoga Snow Park that is just outside of Bend, Oregon, in Central Oregon.
You got it.
We are on the lee side of the mountains, so normally
Good dog.
you'd see sunshine right now. It's just one of those days we happen to be overcast. There will be a few breaks in the clouds, but we have a lot of sunshine every year. This is a snow park that allows you to cross-country ski and have dogs, and then obviously they do these dog races too. Look at Chip there in the lower left. He is in just full gallop, just having the time of his life. Again, if you've ever thought that this was cruel to dogs, just take a look. It's really not that hard to figure out. It would be more cruel to not let dogs run like this. This is where they are in their element. And at this point, we're hauling ass.
Good dogs.
Now again, this is immersive video, so make use of it. Look around, look down, look up. These are professional sled dog racers, so I am really just having the time of my life at this point.
Good dogs.
Now, for those of you who don't know, dog mushing has been around anywhere from 5 to 9,000 years. It's been primarily used in Siberia, North America, and Greenland. Nobody knows exactly where it first originated, but it has been used for hauling goods really to this day. Many of the smaller areas in Alaska, they will still to this day use dogs. Same thing with Greenland and Siberia. Dog mushing is still used as a form of transportation in many of the northern regions. Now, of course, for us lower level people in the lower latitudes, we just love to get out and race them. And you have races like the Iditarod, which is about 1,100 miles. And there are a ton of them both in Canada and Siberia and throughout the world that you can participate in. Now, I only have 4 dogs. This is actually a 5-dog race, but because my dogs are so powerful and the conditions were so rough, I just opted to have 4 dogs instead. Iditarod, anywhere from 14 to 15 dogs, as I recall, are allowed, so that would not work for me at this point. I'm just kind of clinging for dear life and letting the dogs do what they do best. And that is running. Now again, I'll encourage you to look around if you are not using your keyboard or your Oculus goggles or your cell phone. The whole point in immersive video is to look around, and I guess while I'm on that, I am Scojo in 360. This channel is about 360 video. Now I don't always do immersive video, but the great part about immersive video, you have 360 degrees of wonderfulness. Oh, here we go. We are coming up on another racer. You generally say trail in order to indicate to them you want to go by them. And then my dogs are trained when I say on by, they know that they're just supposed to go on by this next team. This can be very complicated, but in this particular case, everything went very smoothly. Except when Chip falls, and I put my foot on the brake a little bit, and then he got his bounce back again. The poor Chip. Not only did he fall,
good boy.
I accidentally called him Moscow, so sorry, Chip, that was my bad. Things were just sort of going a little out of control there. When Chip fell, it scared the daylights out of me. So, he got back up. We are back and going again. My dogs are in full stride. We are moving very quickly. Again, as I gave away at the beginning, I ended up winning this race over the 2 days by almost a 3-minute margin, or over a 3-minute margin. Oh, now here we go. We are coming into our first real test. Last year when I did this, the dogs went straight instead of left, and that I ended up with scar tissue on my leg because of that. But here, there we go. We did that and executed it perfectly.
Good dog.
Now this is harder than it looks because that's icy crust. So a lot of times I'm just hanging on, hoping that I don't tip over. And I should point out, you've probably been hearing me say certain things like ha and G. Those are commands. Those are left and right. So ha is left and G is right. And that's fairly universal throughout dog mushing, throughout the world. I've seen a lot of people use that. Now the dogs don't always obey those commands, but these particular dogs know the commands very well. Like I said, they're professional dogs from Oregon Trail of Dreams up at Mount Bachelor. You may even be able to see a few of these maybe if you do some rides with them, although these dogs are kind of at the near retirement years, but boy, they sure don't look like they are. Look at these guys. We're going, it's got to be 15, 20 miles an hour at this point.
Good dogs.
This is where it's so incredible. Martin Boozer, who's an Iditarod champion, when I interviewed him years ago, talked about the swishing and the silence. There's just something to it. You are fully powered by the dogs and your own wits. So no engines, very quiet. It's just an amazing bonding experience, especially if you're someone who loves dogs like I do. You really do become a team, and the better you work with your team, the better they'll perform for you.
Good girl, Sydney. Good girl, Lava. Good boy, Moscow. Good boy, Chip.
You can see him get a little perk up when I give him some kudos for their run.
On by.
Now here we are about to pass again. Now this person is completely off to the side.
On by.
Wave hello.
Good dog. Good dog.
Now a lot of those were Siberian Huskies. A lot of people think of, when they think of dog mushing, they think of Siberian Huskies, but what I'm running are called Alaskan Huskies. All that really means is they're mutts. There's a lot of different kinds of dogs in them, but Alaskan Huskies are primarily bred for going fast, so they don't have that thick fur. But even without this fur, the dogs that I ran in Alaska back in 2009, it was 40 below and 45 below in a couple days, and dogs like this slept outside and they had no issues. So these dogs are bred not only for running, but also being able to maintain some kind of equilibrium in the very cold temperatures.
Good job, Chip. Good boy. Good boy, Moscow. Good boy. Good girl, Sydney. Good girl, Lava.
Now, right about here is when I started to notice that they had actually, there had been a groomer that had come out and made this terrain a lot better. So as you can see, we're now going downhill. A lot of these hills don't look as steep as they are in reality. We are now in full-blown sprint. Now this is coming up another challenging area, another turn to the left, and we're going to be going at full sprint. So I'm starting to get a little nervous, hanging on a little tighter. Gonna give them a quick heads up about what we're gonna do.
We're gonna go hot.
Gonna go hot, gonna go left.
Hot. Sydney, Lava, hot.
Look at that.
Claire.
See, now I've made this turn, I see a person ahead that I think is my friend Claire, who was released in the race in front of me. And I find out it's not her, but I'm still gonna have to pass this person. So they get out of the way, we go on by, everyone's happy.
I got started late.
What I just referred to, as you heard, is I ended up getting to my start a little bit late, so I was potentially going to be penalized for showing up late, but there was extenuating circumstances, as they say. But we are now running fast. I've now passed one racer that was not my friend Claire. I kept thinking it was, and as you'll see, I'm going to pass some more people, and I keep thinking it's Claire, but we don't pass Claire till the end. But here we are on the longest straightaway. Now this sounds like it would be just an area where they would open up, and they do. You can see Chip is in full stride, you can see Moscow's in full stride, but it also gets very tiring for them because this is a really long straightaway. Now it's about here, I know there's another turn coming up heading into the final hill, and I'm getting a little nervous because I see multiple sleds up ahead of me, so I know I'm going to be passing a bunch of people. And the two people that you've seen me pass now, those are 2 of 3 I've ever passed in my life.
Good girl, Sydney. Good girl, Lava.
So
Good boy,
I'm not exactly an
Good boy,
expert
Chip.
on passing other teams. And if you know anything about dogs that run dog sleds, they have a mind of their own. I mean, they're sweet, they will generally try to please you, but they also have a mind of their own, so you have to be prepared for that. Now, if you haven't noticed, sometimes you'll see dogs kind of bend down and grab at the ground or bite at the ground. That's because they're thirsty and they want some snow. That is the way they hydrate themselves when they're out on the trail.
Good dogs.
Every time I compliment them, you can see them pick up just a little bit. And now we're coming into the final turn before the final hill. Now this last year was a killer for me because it's a steep hill and you just get exhausted on the way up.
Good dog.
You can see him starting to run out of gas a little bit, which isn't a good thing because we're about to approach a hill here. We're going to do another ha, which means left. G to the right, ha is left. What I'm going to do is, I learned this last year, is I'm going to call out my lead dogs' names and let them know we're about to do something. So you'll hear
All
me
right,
say
Sydney,
it.
Lava, ha.
See, I've given them the warning.
Sydney, Lava, ha. Ha, ha.
It's a little dicey in the turn here. Hold on, try not to tip over, but execution was good. The dogs were right on top of it. And now we are starting to head into a long, moderate hill, and you can tell the dogs are kind of winding down a little bit here.
Good dogs.
So at this point, I'm preparing for the fact I'm going to have to jump off and run with them, and I'm winded already as it is. But we got a nice little flat ground here. It's fairly fast because of the ice, so that is helping us at this point. But it's about here where I start to see sled dogs ahead of me, and I realize that I have about 3, basically 4 teams ahead of me. And again, I have not normally passed teams like this, and it can be a very hectic thing. So at this point, I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. I also know I'm about to hit this hill where I'm going to have to jog. So
You got it.
It's about time for me to get sweaty again. and just help these dogs out. Gives them a little moral support too. But here we go. We are not only going to be going up the hill, but attempting to pass 3 different dog teams.
Coming up behind. Coming up behind.
At this point, that's Claire. That's my friend Claire that I've kept thinking I've been passing, but haven't been.
I thought I passed Claire.
As you can see, they're kind of doing more of kind of a kick with their one foot. I've kind of opted for just running up the back of the sled when I need to.
Slow down, boys.
When you got this many dogs that are hyped up, it's a bit of a challenge.
Oh, boys.
Now again, as you notice, I have 4 dogs, everyone else has 5.
Is it all right to go on the right here?
These are professional dogs, professional runners, so I kind of felt like I should probably just go with 4 dogs. 5 might have ended with me falling over, crashing as we call it. Now, speaking of crashing, we are coming up on an area where the day before you have to make a fairly sharp left turn and then go steep downhill.
You got it.
And yesterday, the day before this race, I crashed full on the dog sled when this happened. And you don't just crash a dog sled, you have to hold on to the dog sled when you crash, otherwise they will continue going. So when I did actually crash, I had to fall on the side, hang onto the sled, and be dragged by the dogs for about 10 yards before they finally stopped. I had to throw down my little brake, my little hook, and then get the sled righted and then run back down again. So we are about to hit that hill again. It's coming up here in just a minute.
Gee.
All right, we're gonna do another hawk command. We're gonna be turning left. And again, right after I made this turn is when I crashed last time. Because the dogs know they're near the end and they know it's downhill, and you can tell they're getting excited.
We're gonna go ha!
Right here, I kind of hit a berm, nearly flip over.
Good job, boys.
But we made the turn, and it's right just down in here when we start to make this other slight turn when I flipped it the day before. Right. There is where I flipped it. But this time, we're maintaining. And again, this is much steeper than it looks. We are going very fast. And I'm holding on for dear life.
All right, go Jeep. Jeep.
Jeep, the command for going right.
Good job.
Good turn.
Good job, puppies.
And here's where we cross the finish line in first place. This has been one of the greatest adventures of my life. I'm still in shock that I won. Well, that is the race, everybody. I am Skojo in 360. If you like what you saw, please do subscribe, comment, share this with your friends. Again, this was the Bachelor Butte Dog Derby in just outside of Bend, Oregon, Winoga Snow Park. I encourage you to look them up on Facebook. It was just a grand race, and if you ever have an inclination for wanting to get into dog mushing, you should check out that organization and the Trail of Dreams, Oregon Trail of Dreams at Mount Bachelor. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Again, hit subscribe. Thanks for being part of my adventure.
Good job, puppies. Whew.
By my calculations, you kicked ass.
I think I went faster than yesterday.